He's very happy where he's at right now. Yes, yeah. I just left the gym. He's working out right now, and obviously we're very close to weight, and there's about 1 pound to go. So,
how's that dynamic been, Freddie, with you having to train Dennis and then Marvin taking over your duties while you're gone and away?
you know, Marvin's the greatest assistant ever because like he does exactly what he's told, and he knows what I want the guy to work on, and he does a really good job. And I was gone for like a total of 10 days, I think, and they didn't miss a beat. I mean, sparring went well, everything went well the entire camp. Yeah. We did have a couple of sparring partners that were more hardworking from other gyms, and I don't think they like each other though. The sparring partner on my part, because they had sparred before and so forth, and a couple of low blows got snuck in there.
What was it?
I don't know the guy's name though, but he's a good fighter. Marie, do you remember the guy's name? The low blows. He wouldn't come back?
No, I don't. I just remember. Well, they came back with a bunch of people, didn't they?
They came back with a bunch of people just in case the fight broke out.
Wow, it was like that.
Yeah, it was like that. So, but then that was the last day, though.
Yeah.
So, but then, so pretty much we stuck with the guys that we had upstairs, the sparring partners, because we have a lot of guys in that weight division in my gym anyway, and or at least close to that division, because it's hard to get you're looking for a 126 pounder, but then you've got a guy that weighs maybe 145 pounds, and so you got to get a little bigger guys at that point, and as the weight comes down, the weight of the sparring partners changes a little bit, more speed and so.
That's what Marvin mentioned to me, that he's able to handle his own against guys that are a lot bigger than him.
Yes, I mean, he's a big guy himself. I mean, for a 126 pounder, when he first walked in my gym, I says, "You guys sure?" This guy's big. He's a big, strong guy, and but he cuts the weight. We're like 1 pound over right now, and I would really like to move him to maybe 130 after this fight. Even though maybe there's more attractive fights at 26 right now, I'm not sure which way we'll go, but I would like to see him fight at 30. I think he'd be a lot better off at 30 than 26. I think 26 is maybe a little bit of a chore to get to.
Those Argentina guys are all very physical, and we've seen guys who are kind of brawlers, and you have to refine them a little bit. How was he as far as that went?
He was wild as could be, and we're trying every day to shorten all the combinations up, shorter punches, better combinations, and he's come a long way, and part of that learning process, I mean, he really likes to be told why he needs to improve and so forth, and not just do this and don't tell him why.
Yeah.
He likes to know why, and so he is. He has shortened his combinations up a lot. His punches, he's not so big, not so wide, and obviously we're in with a very good opponent, and he came to me when I came back from Russia and said, "But what if Marius does this?" And I said, well, if he does this, we have to make the adjustment. And then if he does that, we'll make that adjustment. And, because everyone's really trying to change their styles and not be just the same guy that we see in film all the time. So everyone's trying to make changes. And that's part of what we have to work on in the game plan. I mean, we just don't work on one plan. And if he does this, we'll do that. If he does that, we'll do this. So.
How do you see it playing out? Because I want to say a lot of the riders feel that Cuellar is just going to be too strong. There's a big chance that he might catch Abner.
I told him, he knows that I want a fast start, and I said I want you to show me your power right away, and I want you to be the boss, and I want you to be the aggressor. I want you to keep his back on the ropes, and don't let him come forward, and keep pressure on him, and cut the ring off, and control the ring the entire time. And again, he's ready for that. If he comes, he's going to show him his power, and I'm thinking maybe once he feels his power that he will move a little bit more. And if he does move up a little bit more, then we're going to start cutting the ring off, and and set traps for catch him in the corners around the rope. So yeah, he's well prepared for that. And you know, again, we have a couple of different game plans, but a lot depends on what he does.
Freddie, how your record looks versus Robert Garcia? You have faced him corner to corner several times, several fights with Pacquiao.
Yeah, I think I've faced him a couple of times, but no, I really don't pay attention to that so much. I mean, it's funny because someone asked me the other night at the press conference in Russia, what's my record with me and Abel Sanchez? And I says, well, who gives a shit? I said, when the bell rings, we both sit down. I said, we don't fucking throw a punch. I said, but I think it was the first time I faced Abel.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
Wow.
I can't remember ever facing him before. He's a friend of mine. And I said, well, I says, he might be winning 1-0, but I think I got fucked.
Well, he would have had he had like Terry Norris, and then he had Antion, and he had Golovkin, obviously, and you never trained anybody to fight against any of those guys, right?
No. When he had his first champion, I wasn't even around. I might have been still fighting back then.
Yeah, right.
I think we might have, yeah.
Abner was, everybody knew how great he was, and then, the Santa Cruz fight was a terrific fight. He's had a lot of wars. I mean, do you see things building up, the buildup of all those wars in him when you see him fight now?
Yeah, it's for some reason, like this fight has been postponed like 4 times, and we've been in training camp, and then we had to change the date, and I said, do I send him home and let him go rest for a couple of days and get him out of camp? And his wife says no. So you don't send him home. But at one point we did have to send him home to get a stamp on his passport. And so he did spend a couple of times during one of the breaks there. But the other times we just kind of slowed things down a little bit and just maintaining and just teaching him, again, more about how to control the ring. And so everything worked out well. We're ready for the fight now, and again, I just left the gym, and he's 1 pound over, so that's a relief. And because I worry about him making weight, because he's such a big guy coming into the gym. I mean,
Right.
He's like
That's what I saw at the press conference. He looked very, very big.
Very big. Almost a middleweight.
But do you think Abner is the same guy that, like, before Johnny Gonzalez, before Santa Cruz?
I think he's maybe not quite the same. I mean, I watched a lot of tapes on him and so forth, and I like him a little better when he was younger and so forth. But we all have age, and we age with tough fights and so forth. And he's been in a lot of tough fights also. So and he's going in with a really big puncher. My guy is a big puncher. He's very strong. I mean, doing mitts with him is no fun because if he misses once, you're out.
Has he gotten you lately?
Took me a couple of times, but
Yeah.
But not my favorite thing. I didn't put Marvin in there. Marvin's a little bit too small, though.
So if he goes to 130, of course, there's a lot of good fights there too, right? I mean,
There's a lot of good fights in both divisions. Obviously, they're both kind of stacked, and like better than I who's the best guy out there next. I mean, because it could be at 26 or 30. I mean, the thing is, I know he'll struggle to make 26, and he won't struggle as much to make 30. I'd rather 30. But the thing is, if the better fight goes to the lower weight division, we'll go there also. It's not impossible to go to 26 again, but it is work.
what does he weigh when he's walking around?
50.
Really? So do you think he'll put on a lot between weigh-in and fight night?
Yeah.
It's kind of tough, but that's dangerous, right?
I told him, I said, I don't want you to be like overeat and be sluggish and so forth, because food does slow you down and so forth. So, I mean, I like most guys gain like 10 pounds and that'd be okay.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's going to happen in this case. He's just not used to it. The weight comes back on him very quickly, he tells me, and he'll go in the ring above 40.
If he wins, I know you said that it depends on what fights presents itself, but would you advise him, like, hey, I think you should go to 130 and stay in 130 after this fight?
I've already talked to him about it. I have mentioned to him, I said, yo, you're a good fighter, you're a champion at this weight. I said, I think you're good enough to win multiple titles. I think 30 and 35 are definitely in your future, winning both those titles. And I think he's very capable of doing that. He's a big puncher, and I think he'll even be stronger at the higher weight divisions. And he'll carry that punch up with him.
What's his go-to? I mean, you're talking about being a big hitter. I mean, the A1 weapon. I know he's got several, but what's the one that?
You know, he's a southpaw, and I really like his right hook. Is my favorite punch because it's a lot closer to the opponent. It's a lot shorter. It's a lot easier to get there, and usually the opponent doesn't see it coming from the hook side. And that's my favorite punch for him. But his most powerful punch is his left hand, straight left hand.
Did you see Lomachenko the last fight, and where do you put him among all fighters?
You know, I was a little disappointed. I expected more out of Waters.
Out of
I
Walters,
think.
yeah.
I thought it was going to be a much more competitive fight, and he just outboxed him pretty easily. He's a good fighter. He's a great boxer. He has very good footwork. He's a difficult fight for anybody in the world.
Yeah.
You know, and they were talking about Manny Pacquiao fighting somewhere down the line.
I know.
And he wants to fight at 30. He said Pacquiao would have to come to 30, and I need a year to get ready for the fight. I said, a year? I said, that's a good way to say no. But, but I don't think that's possible because I think the weights are just too far apart.
Well, he's talked about Vargas and Salido. You know, he fought Salido the first time. He wants to do that again at some point. So, who knows?
Yeah, I mean, he does need that. He does need to get that off his back. He really does. I think when you lose, you have to revenge is sweet, you know.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he didn't fight his best fight that fight, and it was one of his first fights in America. He trained in my gym for that fight. So,
we have a fight coming up the following week with Bernard, and which he says is his last one. Of course, he says he's, you know, who knows, but. If you're looking at, you know, the years and ranking boxers and where they stand in the fight game, where would you put him? I mean, just in terms of what he's contributed and what he's
Bernard?
What he's
Yeah, I got to train him for two of his fights, and a hard worker, you know, good, takes care of his body, never gets really high in weight, so he doesn't really have a weight problem of losing weight up and down. And from what I hear, he saved all his money. He has his first nickel, they tell me. So I said, I'm really happy about that because he's a success story, and you don't always get that in boxing. And he's a good fighter, and he called me the other day and asked me if he could use my downstairs gym to train for the last couple of weeks for this fight coming up. So, of course, I told him no problem at all. So.
You know, people are critical of fighters who fight defensively, and yet he's 52 and he's doesn't have a mark on him, and I mean, is that kind of there's two different ways of looking at it.
I mean, yeah, but the thing is, like, the art of boxing is to hit and not get hit, and he does it well. You know, people who criticize, like, even like guys like Mayweather and so forth, even though they're a little bit boring, but they're good at what they do. I mean, and they hardly ever lose, of course, because they know the science of the sport, you know. And Bernard knows that as well as anybody, and you know, they won't trade as much as some people, but you know, working with him though, it's like it wasn't like I was going to try to make him into an aggressive fighter or something like that, because I know that's not in him. So you know, everyone's a little bit different, and there's nobody I train the same, that's for sure.
Did you have to kind of guide him gently around things because he's got a mind of his own? I mean, how did
he has a very strong mind of his own.
Did you guys kind of go back and forth a little bit?
Yeah. I told him, I said, you know, next time we have a conversation, I'm going to bring lunch, okay? So, he talks a lot.
Well, when you interview him, you got to stop him and You can't wait for him to finish because he never finished.
See, they won't give you a chance.
No, you gotta jump in there.
Hey, Freddie, how's Manny been?
He's in the Senate now, and he's. I hear he's doing really well, and we don't communicate over the phones or talk. When he comes here, we speak, or I go there. And Marvin's getting married on like December 17th, and I'm the best man, so I'm gonna. And it's Manny's birthday.
Oh wow!
So, I will see him, but I just heard. I heard yesterday from Marvin though that Manny's coming this week. So that means something's happening at least. I mean, someone's going to be offered. I think. Why else would he come to America?
Right.
So
what do you think is going to be offered?
I really don't know. Mayweather was invited to the fight by Manny, and he did come. And I heard that they had a meeting about 5 a.m. that evening, 5 in the morning, and I wasn't there, so I just I don't know if it's true or not, but they say I know they were supposedly had a meeting, so that's a possibility. That fight can happen. I mean, there's always Canelo out there, and I'm one of the few people in the world that will say I'll take that fight with Manny. I think Manny can beat him, and I'll box him. I know he's a very dangerous guy, but if you box smartly, I think he's beatable.
Somebody that you believe told him he was coming. Manny's coming, so you.
Marvin told me. So
okay, so it's happening.
Marvin hears a lot about what's happening in the Philippines, so
yeah.
I think something's happening. Yeah.
Good.
Is the date still April?
I think the dates will probably end up in May because he's still in Senate in April and he gets off in May. So that means I would go there for April and train him and get him ready for the fight, and then we'd come for the fight in May, whatever week that he has off on the Senate. So we have to go around that.
So when you mention May, we always think of the May 5th date.
Of course, it's always a good date, of course, but the thing is, you need the right opponent to also. I mean, a Filipino and a Mexican will sell better than a Filipino and Mayweather. Well, at least I think so. Maybe. I mean,
I think you'll be okay with that fight.
Because I mean, it was such a big fight and so forth, but it didn't live up to what it was supposed to.
People will still buy it.
Yeah, but I know Manny can do a lot better, and that's why I want to fight because I know he can do better in the fight. So.
Well, thank you. Good to see you.